Rubbing In with Becca Tilley and Tanya Rad, an iHeartRadio and two-time People's Choice Award-winning podcast.
If I run to the grocery store, it throws off the entire day, and I get too locked into my routine. And any change in my routine sends me into a spiral, and it's bad. So it's hard to be really tied to a routine, which I need to get through each day, but also be flexible about it.
You're like Hayley. If she has a plan and then somehow it goes off the rails, it is like the most devastating thing ever. And I'm so the opposite. I'm like so spontaneous, go with the flow,
Yes,
winging
you
it.
are.
And if there's like a plan and I'm like, oh, it's fine, it didn't work out. It's like, but it was the plan. I don't understand your minds.
I feel like I'm a good.
So Hayley and I went to the desert. We went to Joshua Tree this weekend, and we were driving back. We drove back this morning, and we had the morning show on. And she goes, oh, "Is that Tanya?" Oh, I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "I don't think I've ever heard this live. Like, I hear commercials, but I've never like heard it live." And so y'all were talking about dating apps. That girl called in talking about like being scared to get on dating apps and intimidated.
I think she really wanted to date Ryan.
I know, that's what you're saying. I was like, I think this is her chance to shoot her shot with Ryan. That's what I felt.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, we had a great weekend, and it was like we did vision boards.
Where is it?
It's at home.
Oh. What's on your vision board?
Well, so, I didn't feel like I got great magazines, so I really had to make do with what I had. Anyways, I had some of that stuff on my vision board, but it was just so nice to get away. And something about the desert, I swear we were in a vortex.
What's a vortex?
It literally makes you, it's like, so I've been in one in Sedona, Arizona.
It's like a thing?
Yeah. So it's like energy or something, but it makes you feel like the whole weekend we felt high, but we didn't take any edibles or anything. We didn't drink. We didn't take edibles, nothing. We were just like,
is there altitude?
Cruising. I don't know. I don't know exactly. I looked up what a vortex is, but basically you feel like peaceful.
I'm like, I don't know if Becca knows what a vortex is.
No, I swear. Look, I'm going to look it up.
I was in a vortex too, I'll tell you about that.
It's a mass of whirling fluid or air. Okay, wait, that's not the right vortex.
That's what I'm thinking. It's like one of those in those movies when like somebody comes out like Moana when like the water parts.
No. Okay, it's areas of concentrated energy rising from the earth, and it says that Joshua Tree is like full of them, so it can make you feel like really calm and happy and peaceful. And it's weird, like I swear we were both going, I was like, I feel like I took an edible, and she was like, me too, because she was giggling at everything I said, and I was like, I asked her if she took one, and she was like, no, but I feel like I did.
I need to go to Joshua Tree.
Anyways, we were very like namaste, like had a great weekend. And then I'm like, I just feel recharged. I feel at peace. And then we get in the car, and the first person cuts me off, and I'm like, what are you doing? So my namaste was
quickly
short-lived. All the units are close to each other. So like, a lot of times I keep Phoebe's patio door open so she can go in and out to the grass. And I can hear if someone opens their door, it makes the same noise that my door makes. And the only two doors in my house that make that noise are the front door and then my patio door up on my roof, which you get to from my bedroom. So yesterday I'm in the kitchen, and I was about to go look at a house, and I'm making lunch, and I hear the noise go off. And Phoebe wasn't there with me, so like she didn't bark or anything because she wasn't there. And I'm looking at my front door, and it's just closed and locked. And I'm like, has someone entered my home upstairs? Like, is someone in my bedroom? So I panic. I do the first logical thing. I go on Instagram and tell everybody what's going on. And, and to be honest, I was just kind of like, realistically, what is it? And then I really started getting in my head, because I am like, I have a full security system everywhere in my house except up there for some reason, because no one ever really goes up there. It normally just stays locked and shut. So I take a knife, I go upstairs, because I don't have a bat, I don't have anything. I take a knife, I go upstairs, and I'm looking in like every nook and cranny I can find. I'm looking under the bed, I look in the shower, I look in the bathtub, I look in the closets. there was a load of laundry on my bed. I looked under that in case they could have fit. You just don't know. Could have camouflaged in there. And so I go up and the friggin' patio door is unlocked. It's shut, but it's unlocked. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to call Hayley was over and she went and took a call out there. And so when she had come back in, I said, hey, did you lock that door when you came in? And she goes, yeah. And that was like the end of the conversation. I should have gone and checked, but I didn't because I was trying to let go of my OCD need to check. And so I call her and I'm like, hey, when you came back in the other day, are you 100% certain that you locked that door? And she was like, I don't have a visual image of me locking it because I walked out, it was sunny, and so I came back. It was too sunny, so I came back in. But I don't think I locked it. I think I just shut it. So, like, if that door had been locked, I wouldn't have thought twice about it. I would have thought, like, okay, maybe that was the neighbor's door I heard. But because it was open, I'm freaking. Yeah. I'm paranoid. I'm on high alert. I've now convinced myself that maybe they put, like, a secret, like, they bugged my room.
I've thought that before. Like they
So
there's like a camera in here. Remember when I had Lucky Charm? I don't even know what we called whatever. I don't even know what we called him on the podcast. I literally doctor screen time.
Oh,
when he came and stayed with me for 5 days. Remember? I was like
Lucky Charm.
I was like he bugged my apartment. I was like there was a video camera in here somewhere. Like I was paranoid for like a month after he left.
I'm so paranoid. And I like know in my head that it was just it didn't get locked. It was probably the neighbors, but like my psycho brain goes to a dark place. So yeah, dealing with.
True or false, Becca? You're still going strong with 95p.
True.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
It's a happy ending. I've never been comfortable or felt really myself dating or sleeping with men. I finally came out at the age of 25, but I had never been in a relationship before that. I thought coming out would explain everything, and hopefully I would now get my happily ever after. I'm now 35, and I've still never been in a relationship. It's my biggest insecurity. I was in an off and on again thing with someone for years, but there are never any sparks or butterflies. Do you think there really is someone for everyone?
I think that I think it's hard. I think it's easy to say that when you have experienced those sparks and butterflies, you know?
You say it again?
Like, I think it's easy to be hopeful when you have experienced, even if it was short-lived or if it wasn't reciprocated, to experience that, whether it's with a guy or girl, whatever the case. Like, I think it's, I just want to say some more that, like, I can understand why you are questioning things and feeling discouraged by this, because I think a lot of us experience that spark and butterfly. I mean, even early on, like I had it for people who didn't reciprocate it for me or enough for it to be a relationship. But I got that butterfly feel, that spark when you saw them of like excitement that you really can't even explain. It's like not even a tangible thing that you can like put into words. And then in my relationship now, it's the first relationship where it has been reciprocated. And I think now knowing that you haven't really experienced it with women or men, I think that can kind of take the pressure off like your identity or your sexuality, whatever that may be, and just know that it can come out of nowhere and it can happen. It could happen this year. It could happen tomorrow. It could take a few years for that to happen, but don't feel discouraged that it's never going to happen. And maybe this would be something where you could talk to someone and maybe there's walls up where you don't even allow your brain to go there, where you can experience that feeling, because it's kind of scary to feel that feeling of like not really having control over your heart and your brain, and there's like so much happening. And maybe,
but they say when you're looking to the north, it just hits you from the south.
But I do think there's people that specialize in, intimacy and sexuality and kind of figuring out maybe there's something going on and it has nothing to do with anyone else. And maybe you've put up these walls or these blockers where you are scared to feel that. I don't know. I just want to say, like, don't get so defeated that you give up on the possibility of it happening, but also know that it's okay to reach out for help and talk to someone who might be able to help guide you and figure out what's going on. And then there's people who are asexual and they don't feel those like intimate sparks and feelings towards anyone, and they have people that are their partner and their friends, and it could be the case for you, but everyone's different and everyone experiences these moments at different times. Some people can look back on a time where they were a child and had that spark and butterfly, and then some people it takes many, many years. And so just know that there's time for everybody, and who knows if I don't know that I'm as hopeful as Tanya, but I do like to say that there's someone out there that can be a partner for you.
People would not end up with the love of their lives? Like you, Mark, Easton, you guys are married. Do you think you're with the love of your life?
Well, of course, but I think there's also a conversation of the concept of the one love of your life. Are we really going with the soulmate thing? There's 7 billion people in the world, but there's one person for you, and they happen to live in your area or near you at some point, and you happen to be a similar age, and that's how it all works out. Like there's some sort of chart somewhere where everyone is paired up, and you got to find that person. I don't know if that's feasible to my mathematical brain.
See,
I do believe I'm with the love of my life. I don't know that I buy into the concept of one twin flame.
Oh.
But yes, I do believe that. And hopefully my wife believes that about herself.
Yeah, we've had that conversation before. We think we are with one of the loves of our lives. You know,
That's what I think too.
You know, I just feel like mathematically there's got to be many more people that we're compatible with, you know, but like, obviously I would love to go to my grave holding Allison's hand, but we did have the conversation, should something happen, we'd both be okay with the other one just moving on and finding someone else.
I'm the same.
That's a sad conversation.
You know, it is, but it's something that we felt like a lot of people don't have. And like, what if something horrible happened tomorrow? You know, I'd like to know that I had Allison's blessing to get back on the horse, you know, not that I'd be able to, of course. I'd be in mourning. I'd be just terribly depressed, but eventually, you know, I mean, hey, I got my whole life ahead of me.
Yeah. I mean, it's Easter.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's true though. Like the hopeless romantic part of my brain goes like, how could you ever find a love? How could you ever find more than one like loves of your life? But in my mind, I'm like, I found one. I think I found one that I'm with right now. And it's like, should something happen, do I think I could
Find another?
And it might be totally different, but it's still, I would consider them the love of my, one of the loves of my life.
Exactly.
And
that's what maybe that's what she was getting at, because she was like, the love, like, because I was like, oh, so I'm supposed to settle? you know me, I get all in my like, whatever. And she's like, it's not settling.
It's go time.
Sure thing. Here we go. Abigail says, in a recent episode of the podcast, Becca discussed a revelation she had in therapy. She realized that the way she argues can actually fall into the category of gaslighting. I'm a newlywed, and I'm having to learn how to argue with my husband. I've been realizing that I do the exact same thing as Becca. I tend to believe that my way is the absolute truth, which I know sounds a bit delusional, but it's how I usually feel. That being said, Becca, do you think you could talk a little bit more about how you're working to change this behavior? What are some specific actions or thoughts you have been practicing when arguing?
Wait, before you start, can I just say that I am very proud of you just as a human being, because I have like watched you walk through so much, and like you just take accountability. Are you crying?
I'm a little emotional.
Well, you really like you're taking accountability. Like everybody has their stuff, you know what I mean? Like we all have our things,
Mm-hmm.
and you've really taken accountability for it, and you've recognized the things that aren't working with you, and you want to correct them for yourself, only for yourself. Mm-hmm. And I'm just so proud of you, because I've just been like watching you do it, and it's just awesome.
Thank you. So nice to get me a little teary-eyed. Abigail, so So when I had this revelation with my therapist, I asked her, like, what should I say or do when I have my own version of what happened? Like, how do I say that without saying that's not what happened, which is the phrase that I typically go for. And she said, saying something along the lines of, that wasn't my experience. Or that wasn't, I think what it was that wasn't my experience. I hear what you're saying. It's valid, but that wasn't my experience. I also said, because that's not really typically something I would, if I'm in an argument, that I'm calm enough to say in a graceful way. I don't think that would be natural. But if I said something along the lines of, like, that's not really how I saw it, I saw it differently, or something along those lines, that's not discrediting their version, but also letting them know that that's not the same experience you had, I think is what's important. But also a problem that I've had when arguing is that, especially in my relationship, when I get heated, I like to take a beat and like process things in silence, or like by myself, and take some deep breaths and think about what we're arguing about, so that I can come back and be more rational and level-headed in my responses without getting, because sometimes we just go in circles and it gets so exhausting that I get
Scorpio.
so mad. Which is
kind of like
I have a sting. Yeah, I like to sting. But also, she was saying, so what I established, so I hate confrontation. So me just even being in the argument is stressful for me. Like, I want to withdraw right off the bat, but like just being in the argument itself is like a feat for me. Mm-hmm. And so being able to communicate and be rational and express how I feel is a very hard thing for me, to be honest. It's something I've been working on. And but I've told 95P, like, when I say that I need a break, I'm not saying like or if I'm saying I need space to think, I'm not saying like we're breaking up, or I'm not coming back, or I'm just staying mad. I'm just saying I need a moment to calm down so that I can respond to you how you need me to respond to you without us going in a circle. So that's what I do. And 95P has to be willing to let me do that without it being an issue. So that's kind of where I'm working on it, but it's hard. And like when we've gotten in arguments, even though I am aware, I still have to like check myself and what I'm saying without saying something that falls into that category of gaslighting or invalidating the other person.
Yeah.
It's hard though, because when you're mad, you're just like, oh, you're wrong.
And I also think it's just like natural. You know what I mean? Like, we all see something through our own eyes, so it's like, how do you not see that, but it's like everybody's perspective is so different.
I know, it's bizarre. Like, it's like if we were running together, mm-hmm. and you saw all that, you would literally not even think twice about any of it. Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm like, oh my gosh, the butterfly and the this and the that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's like
and also I have always thought, like, when I think if I'm arguing with someone and we're just different, like we don't see eye to eye, I've always been like, especially in this relationship, I'm like, we're so different. Like, is it ever going to work if like every time we argue, we have a different perspective? Like, we're so different. And my therapist was like, why can't it just be that you're different and it not be a bad thing? And I was like, you know what? You're right. Instead of like making it such a negative thing of like, oh, we're different, like, how is this ever going to work? I should celebrate the differences, that we challenge each other. And my therapist was like, you don't even have to celebrate them. Why can't you just let your differences be differences? And I was like, okay, can work on that. Seems weird that it's not put in a category, but okay. So that
you're never going to find somebody that's exactly like you.
I know, but I was saying, like, when you argue, if you're like always seeing things differently, it's like, where do you ever come to resolution? But she was like, just don't overthink what the differences mean.
Yeah.
So I thought that was good. I'm good. I have been, 95P and we started just, I think because, which I've talked about this before, we have so many different, we're very different in the way we think. So like, I'll think of something and it'll be on one end, and then 95P's version is on the complete opposite other end. And it's just complicated when we, disagree and we get into arguments. And so I've been obviously talking about how I've been seeing a therapist and it's been so helpful. And so we started seeing a couples therapist. And I always thought that was like the beginning of the end in relationships. But we only had one session and it was amazing. Like the progress of just that one session, it makes me so excited to continue doing it. And I don't know if it'll be like as consistent as our individual therapy is, but it's just so nice to have, because I think the thing is we talk to our different therapists and get their advice based on our version of what had happened.
Yeah.
And then we come back and we're like, well, this is what my therapist said. And they got two different versions of the story. And so with couples therapy, it's like the same person is listening to us talk about the situation and we're getting to hear how each other viewed it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's
just like, I think that everybody's so different. Just like the way that we live our lives is based on how we were raised, and everybody was raised differently and had grew up in different situations and circumstances. And so I think sometimes having a third party kind of neutralize things is so beneficial. And it just goes to show you how the both of you are committed to making it work,
Yeah, and I always thought that...
And understanding each other.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing, is just having someone help navigate the conversation so that we can just understand each other better. Because a lot of times we don't. Like, we just get mad because it's like, that's not how I saw things happening. And it's hard. It ends up just going in circles in that regard because we just both don't know what to do to come to a resolution, if that makes sense. So it was just our first one, but it was great. And right,
and that's the thing too, even if you don't do it as consistently, I think obviously self growth is super important, but if you guys just do it sporadically throughout, I think it's a good thing.
And I think I know other people who have tried either to get their partner or spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend to go to therapy, and sometimes people are resistant. So I think we're both fortunate that we're both open and willing to do it, which isn't always the case, but yeah, so it's good. And I feel like things have been so great since then, of us implementing what
you know what? It's just getting tools for the toolbox.
It is. It's so true.
You got to have a toolbox in life. You got to have a toolbox in relationships. And you just, you come to something and you're like, wait, I have the tool for that. Let me open my toolbox.
Exactly. And we didn't have the tools, so we need the toolbox. But
I love a toolbox. We all need a toolbox.
I agree.
So you're going to keep watching and see if you like it more?
So I
watched like a board admission.
I watched
but you said but you said right off the bat, which implies that there's more Ted Lasso in her future.
Well, so I watched it with Hayley, and we were both quite underwhelmed.
I feel like Hayley would like it.
Okay, but she goes, I'm not opposed to like continuing to give it, let it get going, because the first episode, the pilot's always, sometimes you don't jump on board right away. And so I took the same approach, because y'all aren't the only people talking about how great it is. And so this as a career, like...
Oh, because they don't know who he is?
No, it's just like a joke. Oh. It's so hard to explain TikTok humor to people who don't have TikTok. Like, honestly, between you, Hayley, I'll say like these hilarious things from TikTok, and it's just like crickets in the eyes. And
some people think TikTok's funny, some people think Ted Lasso's funny, and they don't tend to cross over it very much.
Here's the thing. I talked to my therapist about this, because she was saying like 95P and I don't have the same like faith or belief. Like, we both respect each other and what we believe, but I've had to, because I have always had this mentality of like, I can be an example for someone to change, and that's not how it is in a relationship. Like, if 95P comes to the decision and that's the path that they want to take, then that's totally fine. But I never want it to be because I pressured that decision. And my therapist was saying it's okay to want, especially when it comes to faith and stuff, like she was saying, it's okay to want someone to change. Like that's not a bad thing. And I think there's a lot of pressure on, or people feel like they're guilty for wanting someone to change. And I've always felt like that. But she was saying like, it's normal for you to want your partner to experience something that's so good in your life, as long as you can accept that you're not responsible for changing them and that it has to be their decision. And so
spoke up, the boundaries were set, and I felt really stable. So I think it'll either work itself out or it won't.
That's, I mean, similar with my, when Robert and I ended, we were friends before we started dating. And so when we broke up, it was a very like healthy breakup in the sense that like nothing bad, no one did anything. It was just like, this isn't right. But I still wanted that friendship with him. But 95P was just like, hey, that, makes me kind of uncomfortable if you're like talking all the time. And I was like, I totally understand that. And then Robert started dating someone else too. And it was kind of just like being able to respect each other's relationships and our own, I think was just, but I needed to hear it to realize that I needed to know that 95P was uncomfortable for me to have that realization of like, oh, I see where that would be awkward for you. I just can't do it. I just can't make myself pee unless I'm sitting in a toilet, unless I'm literally about to. I had to do it one time on a trip to Big Sur. I had to get out and pop a squat, and I was giggling so bad from just being like uncomfortable that I was like, I was hanging on for dear life to 95P, and we were like dying laughing. It was a mess.
You guys.
How do we feel about, for example, your partner is flirting with someone through text but has never met them?
Cheating.
Like you would break up over that? Or just it would be a heavy conversation?
If he was flirting with somebody via text message?
Well, what's flirting? Like sometimes that's being nice, and that can be flirting. Like I consider myself, because I'm nice, sometimes I can come across as flirting, but I have like no interest in anything other than being kind.
Feels suspect.
Can we get maybe an example of those texts?
I know very specifically when I'm being flirty and when I'm being kind.
I agree with that.
I don't.
Well, that's
I think
not
there's
good news for 95P.
Listen, 95P has had some flirty conversations that I had to have some conversations about, but it was like more so I was just, it wasn't anything more than me being nice, and I trust. Gotta trust. But it literally was like one conversation, and it was like, all right, fine. Yeah, I think there's a lot of fights and arguments come from communication errors and how we communicate differently. And so I think for me, my personal therapy and then also couples therapy has been so great, because it's been trying to find the tools to understand each other more, which I think is a lot of where these issues happen and why we fight and argue, because we don't argue or fight the same way or communicate the same way. And so I guess I agree. Like the context is hard, because if it's things where you're trying to understand each other and you're just not getting there, I think those things are fixable if you're willing to make the effort and work on it. But if it's something like y'all are bickering about little things every other day that are just like y'all are butting heads constantly, maybe y'all aren't each other's person.
Yeah, and I think too, it's like the context of the fights is huge, because if they're fundamental things, like let's say you guys are, he likes to stay in and you like to go out. I mean, that could be somewhat of an issue, I guess, if you just like to live your lives differently, but yeah, I don't know. I think that there's something to be said about, I don't think that things go smoothly, and I think that you do have to fight and kind of figure out what's important and work through those things. But if there are fights over, I don't know, and you're crying yourself to sleep, that seems not great. Well, because I'm a sensitive person, and so I cry a lot. And I think I cried myself to sleep once in my last relationship.
Well, I was gonna say I've never gone to sleep while we were still in a fight. And I think that's an effort that we've both made where even if we're exhausted, we make sure that we come to an understanding and at least can, you know, in the conversation and feel like we've made progress before we go to sleep. But I think the fact that y'all are able to resolve at some point is good. I think if y'all could just find the tools of how to not let it escalate to that point where you're crying, I think that would be really helpful to probably save you both a lot of frustration and pain. But if you're crying a lot,
I wonder if he's an Aries.
Probably.
yeah,
Probably.
it must be it.
Must
Yeah.
be it.
Got at least a 1 in 12 chance.
Yeah, because like then he's like fiery and very, you know, I don't know. Like I think if I were to fight with an Aries, I would cry myself to sleep a lot.
Right path.
On the right path. Yeah. So
Um,
anyways, and then you were gone also.
I was. We went to Hawaii for Hayley's 30th birthday.
So fun.
It was so fun. It was interesting because, you know, it's still pretty like to travel to Hawaii. You have to go through, you have to have a negative test. You go, you have your QR code, you sign up for this app to track your health. It's like a lot.
Really?
Yeah, it was great though, because I felt everyone who went had to have the same process to
So
go to
when
Hawaii.
they say that though, when they say you need to have a negative test to go on this plane, do you get a test just anywhere around your house or do you have to do it at the airport?
No, not at the airport, but they have certain ones. It's a specific test.
And so then they send your results to the airplane?
No, so you get it sent to you. You get a QR code and you have to show the QR code.
Got it. Okay.
So it was, I mean, it's definitely like if you want to go, you have to go
to-do.
through the but like I said, I went feeling better knowing that everyone who I was entering the island with had gone through the same thing that I had gone through.
Yeah. And then do you need one to come back?
Huh?
Do you need one to come back?
No, I guess the mainland does not care about who's entering. But it was great because we went to Lanai, which is a more secluded, like it has I think 3 resorts on the island and then like a market, and that's really it. It's not like you're going and exploring and there's a lot of tourist attractions. It's like if you're not staying at the resort, there's not a whole lot of reason to go. So it was like we barely saw anyone while we were there. It was awesome.
So nice.
It was beautiful.
What was the weather like?
Perfect. It was just like down by the beach. It was sunny and hot, and then we'd go. Where we stayed was more in like the mountain area, so it was just like gardens, and it's like a Japanese inspired hotel, so it was just like lush gardens all over. There was like a ranch with horses. It felt like another country. It was amazing. I did not want to come home, although I missed you. I was like, can I get Phoebe shipped here for like a couple weeks and then. And you, I'd love to have you there.
Yeah, Phoebe. Phoebe's the one she's concerned about.
Well, because I have people taking care of Phoebe, so it's like I feel
who's
that
taking care of me?
your past thing, I guess. Okay, but anyway.
No, the answer is I'm taking care of myself.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. Modern women.
That's right.
Take care of themselves.
That's right.
So, but it was a great trip. It was one of those things. But also, you know, I had stuff booked that I had to work on while I was there, so I wasn't really able to just put down my phone and fully go on vacation. But it was so nice, and I just felt really freaking grateful that we got to go. And because I feel like traveling's about to be insane here soon. Like now that the vaccine's rolling out for everyone,
and then it switched. I don't know, just like switched.
I'm very curious about where I land on that. Interesting.
But it sounds like if you're
Yeah.
securely attached and have the rug pulled out from under you, you go one of 2 directions. You go the anxious direction or the avoidant direction.
Yep.
I'm very secure in the relationship that I'm in, but 95P is a little more on the anxious attachment side.
Yeah. It's a lot to deal with. Honestly.
Got you, and I got 95P. I'm just over here trying to stay strong and.
But being aware of it is something that's really powerful because I think that's the biggest step is like.
Yeah.
And
So
you actually never got back to me. I sent you a text the other day. I was doing
Oh, she's serious. I thought this was a joke.
No, it's not a joke. This is serious. I asked you, I'm doing a lot of self-help books.
Okay, that was like the busy. Are you talking about the thing you asked me to write?
Yeah.
That was literally the busiest week ever. There was just I wanted to be thoughtful in my answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, to be honest, I forgot about it once I went to Hawaii, but I will do it. I'm not like putting it off in that way. She asked me to send a time. Can I talk about it?
Yeah.
Where she was at. Was it at your best or happiest?
Yeah, where I was thriving.
And I was really like, I went back in my head, but I'm in the process of buying a home. I was in the process of planning a 30th birthday party and a trip within like the last minutes. And Tanya sends me a text asking for a paragraph about when I thought she was at her happiest because she's doing a self-help book. I'm just
Under
a
a plant?
believer in, when it's really hard, like the beginning of my relationship was really hard and it was basically long distance for the first like 6 months. And the easiest thing would have been to just be like, yeah, it's distance. Like, when are we really going to see each other? But we wanted to, so we made it happen. Both of us. It was equal parts.
I know, but you also have to think your job at the time was very lenient in terms of your schedule. Like, you could go and
but 95 P's was not.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. One of you had a little bit of leeway in your job that you could travel more to see 95P.
We don't know if she does.
That's what I'm saying. She might not have that. Like, so where they're both kind of landlocked into like their jobs really require them to stay put where they are, and they don't have the flexibility to make it work. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you were in your situation, it was different.
But not that often. I mean, maybe once every few weeks.
Becca, if you had a 9 to 5 job at your chiropractor's office, there's no way you and 95P would have lasted that beginning of your relationship.
I 100% agree.
That's what I'm trying to say.
But we would have been we would have still known where we stood on it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what could be happening right now.
But she said he's not even like acting the same anymore.
Right, because he broke up with her. They're done.
He never said anything.
Oh.
No, he didn't say it. He just moved. Right?
Wait,
Can we confirm that he never said it's over, right?
Right. He had been coming in regularly and then he wasn't able to anymore.
We decided to put the romance on hold and just be friends for now. So they ended it.
Okay. All right.
So you agree?
I agree that it's more complicated than meets the eye. That it's more complicated than I'm making it. I'm making it sound like it's easy breezy because my situation.
Yeah, I don't think your situation wasn't easy breezy. I'm just saying.
But I was able to make it work to where we could see each other. And okay.
Correct.
I get what you're saying.
Like if you and 95P had this same situation in terms of work, you would have been like, we can't do this. Let's put the romance on hold for now until we can.
I don't know.
I'm just saying. Food for thought.
Food for thought.
Down. I was like, is that all you see me as? Like,
that's me for the past 3 years. I'm like, am I good for anything other than, I think it's hard because I came off The Bachelor. So that's what people knew me for, was like dating and being like that, finding love. And then, my relationship with Robert was very public. And then when that ended and I started my relationship that I'm in now, it was like, you can't hide that from me. Like, you can't not talk about that from us. And my whole thing was a lot of, and I still get messages where they're like, don't be a coward, like come out and talk about your relationship, like quit hiding. And I'm like, I'm not hiding as much as I'm just not like, it's private, but like all of the people in my life, no, it's not like we're not public, but I always have that feeling. I'm like, do I need to, like, is the only thing that makes me relevant my relationship or talking about it?
And so for me, it's not, I never have felt that I've never felt that before.
Do you feel like, since y'all kind of had like a restart, do you feel like y'all are back in that like honeymoon phase of the like Travis and Courtney?
Yeah. I honestly don't feel like we ever got out of that phase.
Well, I was going to say also that I guess that was still, it was almost a full year.
Yeah.
So
no, it was a full year, over a year.
Oh, that y'all had. Yeah. So yeah, I guess that, Easton and Allison are still in it. I'm still in it with 95P.
Are you?
Yes, like the other day I was driving home and I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so, see, you're still in it too. How many years has this been? 3?
Yeah. 3 years. It's so crazy. I never thought I would be someone who, first of all, was in a long-term relationship like this, and also still like so
Smitten like a kitten.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just never been my personality. And so it's funny every time I think about it. I'm always like, this is funny. Like, so ironic that this is when I get like needy or need attention, I'm always like, get it together, Becca. This is not who you are. But it is.
It's Becca and Lou. Wait, so have you thought about anything like, do you want to always just keep, like, even if you guys get married and have
well, I mean, no, I've kind of been more so leaning towards, I get really torn about it because at first it was for reasons that I don't have anymore. And now
Right.
it's more so like, it's just kind of nice that the pressure of it being public isn't present. Even though I think a lot of people kind of know, I think there's something about it that feels comfortable that it's not public. But on the flip side, it'd be fun to share it, you know? Because like,
I know it's like this happy, it's like this, there's this happy medium with all of it, because I think also for me, you know, and same with Red Star and I, the reason why we didn't post things in the beginning was for different reasons. Now those reasons are no longer there. And so he told me, he was like, you can post me, do whatever you want. And I was like, okay.
but I don't know how the relationship's gonna be once I beat him.
I want you to. Like, nothing makes me happy. We want to have like a game, like a whole like game night thing where we like invite maybe like 2 couples or something and do like ping pong,
Attorney?
Like Prosecco pong, and then like and there was one at bocce ball. We got bocce ball like kind of rotate and do all of these, like just a Jenga, have like a Jenga there, and just have everybody just like playing random games all the time. How fun is that?
That's really fun, actually.
So
95P loves games.
Yeah. Wait, but you know what we should do?
What?
At some point,
What?
because I've been getting a lot of messages about this as well. At some point, we need to do some sort of large podcast with our significance.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yes. I would very much like to listen to that episode.
Yeah, like not like I don't want to do like a newlywed game where we just ask trivia questions. That's not it. It's something better. Almost like that when we have them fill out those questionnaires, but just like in real life.
Well, that will certainly expose my relationship.
Yeah. I have a feeling Becca's not thrilled with this idea.
Okay.
I'm not opposed. It just, I think there would be steps that came before
I'm saying in
the
due
podcast.
time, in due
Yeah.
time, in due time.
I'm not opposed
What
to
if we
that.
use a surrogate for 95P, Becca? Like we hire like an actor to wear an earpiece and sit there in the mic.
I feel like I might as well just have 95P on at that point.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to it. I think it'd be really fun. I always said, like, once my relationship was public and out there, that it would be fun to do like a podcast.
Yeah, where
Like
we just
that.
like
Oh no, what?
even if we did like how we went to Palm Springs, you know, like we did like we took scrubbing it on the road, and we went somewhere just like around and had some spicy margs and recorded the podcast that night.
As always, have a
Love.
great week. Can't wait to see if any of our theories come true this week. Thursday night for Grace, Friday night maybe Taylor Swift music. I don't know. Haley Kiyoko has a new single coming out.
Is that right?
Oh,
She
that's
sure
great.
does.
Wow.
Good for her.
And it is a boppity bop.
You got a sneak listen?
Of course I did.
Oh,
Wow. Connections.
connections.
Isn't that funny? Oh my, just hit my shin so hard.
This is a Becca thing, right? This is not a Becca and 95P thing.
No,
right?
this is a Becca thing. It could go into a Becca 95P thing, but this is just like a Becca thing, which felt really important to me, you know, like I think doing this on my own felt like a huge step in my life. And I think maybe eventually it'll be a dual
living
situation. But
well, how soon do you think that would happen? Like realistically, like 2 months, 4 months, 6 months?
We basically spend almost every single night together. So it's not that we basically live together, but have two places.
Right. So that's not living together.
Right. But I'm saying it's not that far off of that possibly happening.
But I wasn't even asking that. I was just asking.
No, Tanya was taking it to the next.
When you signed that mortgage, is it Rebecca Penelope Tilley?
No.
And then
it's not. Well, it's nothing says Rebecca Penelope, but it is just my name. Which
just you. There's no 95P on the next
there's no
line
95P
down. Yeah.
signature
On the
there.
lease.
But yeah, it feels like a real boss move, honestly.
Yes, for sure.
It's so major. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
If he opened up his old dating app profile just to see all the girls who think he's cute, that's one thing. But yes, if he created a profile, that's different.
Well, we don't know that information, but all I know is when I got into a relationship, I deleted my dating apps. 95P, I don't even think was on dating apps, and that was that.
Yeah,
Honestly, hold on. It says here he admitted he used to have one, and the last time he looked at it was when he was away for work. Now, you can't judge a 10-season show on clips or even a few episodes. The idea is you watch it and you get really into the characters just like you did with Friends.
Yeah.
And then it becomes funny because you know them so well. It's the same thing.
Right. You know what I also realized too is that in a relationship, one can have one thing and one can have another, and it can be cohesive in its own way.
That's beautiful. Mm-hmm. I've learned that too in my relationship. My God. Talk about could not be more different and have different opinions on things. Wow.
And yet you can celebrate your differences and respect each other.
We do both love Friends though. So
yeah,
that is a win. Because that could be, that could be tough. A deal breaker, if you will.
That would be tough.
Podcasting. She's like, oh, I'm going to this thing for Pink on Monday. And I was like, me too. So I think it's going to be me, Tanya, and Red Star.
95P can't come?
Mm-mm.
No.
So just me, third wheeling.
Oh, third wheeling it. I love
it. Great.
A third wheel Eve at the bowl.
She was talking about how she doesn't need, she's just celebrated her anniversary with Carrie, her husband, and she's like, I don't need him, but I want him. And I was like, girl.
I've always said that I never want to be in a relationship where I feel like I need that person, that I want them and that they make me happy and they make my life better. I tried to explain this to 95 feet, and I don't know if I worded it incorrectly or wasn't sensitive enough in how I said it, but it wasn't. I had to go back and really re-explain and say, I want us. My goal, being with someone, is that we're both at 100% and we get to be 200% rather than being half and needing the other half to make us whole. And I think it's so true. There's this you complete me, and it's no, you just really enhance my life and make it better.
Yeah.
I don't know if Easton and Mark feel that way about their respective spouses.
I do. Sure. I'd like to throw that in there.
Yeah. Me too.
Wow. I've never done that in my life.
No,
Me
listen.
either.
So
Ever.
on Saturday, I had my two of my best friends got married, and but they were in San Diego, and then I had booked my flight at 5:30 a.m. to leave out of LAX, and so we were driving home. Hayley and I were driving home, both about to fall asleep. It was awful. She was like, you have to keep talking to keep me awake. And I was nodding off. It was bad. And so I was going to get maybe 1 hour of sleep before I had to get up and go to the airport. And I was like, what am I doing? I'm going to be physically sick if I do this. So I just changed my flight to 10 something. But yeah, I haven't booked a
10 p.m.
No, 10 a.m. But it was at 5:30. So I got a, extra 5 hours.
People's Choice Award winning podcast.
everybody. We're scrubbing it. Happy Pride. It's Pride Month.
It is Pride Month, and it's cycle syncing month. Yeah.
Okay, so I get back from Florida, and Tanya's like, hey, are you at home? And she kept asking if I was home, and I'm like, no, I'm at the beach or whatever. We were gone. And so finally she texts me. She's like, are you home? And I want to come drop something off. And I was like, yeah, we're home now. So she goes, I'm going to, how do you pronounce it?
Challah.
She's like, I have some challah that I want to bring. It's like amazing. I want you to try it. And I'm like, she's been so persistent all day about some like bread. So she comes over, and Hayley was over there, and she hands me a bag. I don't even look at the bag at first. And I pull the bread out, or the challah, and I'm like, oh, like I've never had it before.
To try this bread.
Like, I'm just have no idea how I'm supposed to react. And so I pull it out, and I'm like, okay. And I look up, and Hayley's filming like with the phone, and I'm like, what is going on? And so I put it back in, like, thanks, like, see ya. And she goes, no, look in there. So I look in there, and I realize the bag is from Restoration Hardware. And I pull out this like folder, and it is a printed photo of like my dream dining table that Tanya bought me. Like, I can't even describe to you. Like, I still don't know how to respond to it. Like, I've been totally overwhelmed for 4 days now, or however long it's been, of just being able to accept this gift, because it's like the nicest thing. And I had told, I don't even think I told you, right?
No, you did it. And like, so I've been like hemming and hawing. I really wanted to get her something like really beautiful and really nice and special for this like home. And I wanted to do something big, because I don't think you realize, and you don't realize it, but you've done the same for me time and time again in our friendship.
I have not done.
Not to that, no, but like you do stuff like that time and time again. Like, especially like early on when like I couldn't even afford to do stuff for myself. Like, you would do it for me, like, you wouldn't even bat an eyelash. And so I knew I wanted to do something nice, but I was really like, just didn't know what to do. And then when you were showing me your house, you were like, okay, I need to get, I have to do things in phases, because when you buy a house, like, it's just, everything's so expensive, And so I was like, okay, she's going to do the gate, and then she's going to do her shades. And then you're like, and then I have this dream table that I want to get for right here. And you're like, and you showed it to me on your phone, and I was like, oh. And then I asked you, I was like, that's it. I want to get her a table, because like a table is what you make memories around. Mm-hmm. Like, that is like, that's it. And so I don't even know if you remember, but I like grabbed your phone, and I asked you to get me something from the kitchen or something. So I took a picture of it. I took a picture of it on your phone, on my phone. And I was like in cahoots with Hayley to make sure like you weren't going to buy it for yourself and like all this stuff. And then I go to the store, and they're like, oh, it's not ready until August. And so I was like, ugh. Okay. And then the guy was so cute at the store. He was like, I can print off a picture of it, and we can like put it in an envelope, and you can put it in a bag. And I was like, that's perfect. But then I like wanted like an excuse, because I was like, I don't want to just give her the bag. And so I was like, the challah is such a good throw off, because it's totally something I would do. Like, I'd be like, oh my God, these amazing crackers I want you to try. And so like, it's a perfect way to like throw her off. So it really went off like exactly how I planned it. It was so good.
Okay, you guys don't understand this table though. I have a lot of other things I needed to do for the house. So I was like, you know what? I already have a dining table. I won't rush, to buy this one. It's really, it's like a dream table. But I'll get it eventually. I was just like, one thing at a time. I'm not going to rush. So when I say I am still processing it, like, it was just the most, like, the thought behind it of what you got me, and then what it actually is was just like the nicest thing ever.
Well, I love you, and you deserve it, and you don't even realize. She doesn't realize she does this all the time.
I don't do this all the time.
You do, in different ways. You do.
But it was like really, I was totally thrown off by the haul. I was like, is she gonna give me some? Like, am I supposed to heat it up? What do I do with this? Like, and she's like, yeah, I had it in my freezer, so I decided to take it out. And I'm like, so this is old bread?
so good.
Yeah.
I could just like feel her annoyance through the text message. You know what I mean? Of like, great, I've never tried challah before. Sounds cool. Like I could just like hear her annoyance because like all day I've been like, are you home? Are you back? Blah, blah, blah.
Because all day it was, are you home? She never said anything. She was like, I want to drop something off. And I was like, oh yeah, we're at the beach. And then finally I'm at home and she's like, okay, I'm going to bring some challah I just tried or something. And I was like, you've been harassing me all day for this?
It's just so good. It was so that was the best part. I could never date an actor. Like I'm sorry.
I mean, look,
If
his
that
hand
were
is
my-
on her
yeah.
neck and he's like biting her lip.
If that were my boyfriend and he was sucking someone's face like that, I would not be okay.
Okay, that brings me to something else I want to talk about. So you mentioned, I think actually on our podcast, you were talking, I think with, I don't know. You were talking about how Red Star isn't really jealous. Like he just like doesn't get jealous. He's like very
Never.
chill. Does that bother you? Do you like wish there was do you like that he's so secure? Do you wish
No,
there
I
was
like
little
that he's
spice?
secure. I like
a
that
little
he's
jealousy.
Now that you bring it up. It is weird. I mean, he's so secure. Like he's just very like secure, which I like because he's securely attached. And I'm like doing that whole attachment style. And I'm like, I envy that he has that.
But do you find yourself to be the jealous type?
No, not jealous. Not jealous. But I'm definitely not as secure as he is. That's for sure.
But more so, and I'm talking about like, you're like, if he were to.
But like if he were an actor and he was doing that with somebody, even though I know it's professional and there's no feelings there, I could not handle it.
I will say,
She made the quotation marks with her fingers when she said no feelings. It's important that people know that because they
Yeah.
can't see you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
because there are certain times where I see a kid, like if I were with either Kate Winslet or Leonardo DiCaprio and I saw that scene and we were dating during that time, there'd be some fights.
Yeah, but you're not too far off from that, okay,
Okay.
girlfriend? And I'm like, that's what I was telling Becca. I was like, I don't think if I were you, I couldn't handle it.
I mean, I consider myself in every relationship I've had, I can be jealous, but I'm very confident and secure in our relationship. Yet I still have that like Scorpio, like that's mine.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah.
But no,
Yeah, although it's your
I'm more
job and you need to kiss people, I get it. Again with the air quotes, but it's like that would be really hard for me. I couldn't do it.
But my point is more
Zachary
so,
Levi, I'm sorry, we can never end
That's
up
why it
together.
never worked out
That's
with
why
him,
it never
yeah.
worked out with Zachary Levi because he's just kissing people on movies, and I just like I can't have it.
But I kind of like because in I think there's healthy and I think there's unhealthy, and like 95p, there's like a healthy amount of jealousy to where I feel like
It's nice. It's a nice
it's
balance.
nice. Yeah.
Both ways.
Both ways.
Yeah. See, Red Star just doesn't, just no jealousy, like
Because-
zero.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Don't
but not
do
like
that,
actually
but, like,
squeeze it
yeah.
off, but like I just like everything. I'm like, you're so freaking cute, and I just want to like squeeze it.
It's called cute aggression.
Is it?
Yeah, I get it with Phoebe.
I have it
And
right
with
now.
95p.
Oh, really?
I still have it with 95p, yeah.
I have it with him real bad right now.
Yeah, so Hayley performed for the first time for a Pride event on Saturday, and it was so fun to like hear and see live music and like entertainment. It was a freaking blast, and I overserved myself because there was tequila in like the green room, and I go to pour it and I like just forgot how to pour like an appropriate amount of alcohol. So I filled up like half the cup with tequila, and I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? And so like I just had like a red Solo cup, and I was walking around and everyone's like, I can literally smell that tequila.
That's my girl.
And I was like, I know I overpoured it, but I wasn't like super drunk. I was just really social. Like I was just like flittering around, like
Glittering.
flittering like a butterfly, some would say.
Wow.
A social butterfly.
Yeah.
But it was just so fun to be around people and just like
I know.
have
Did it
that
like
experience.
do things inside your body? Like, did you have an internal, external internal, external, and
Reaction?
an out. Hold on.
I don't know. You know, like sometimes we can guide you and help, but I don't.
An outward expression of an internal feeling.
Yeah,
Oh,
excitement.
that's good. That works. Yeah.
It's called excitement. Fun. I told Hayley about the shirts, and she goes, "Why does Tanya always have to take it one step too far?" I go, I don't know. I told her, listen, if you want to make shirts, then you make shirts. And that's where I left it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Because, like, why just live life, you know? Like, live life to the extreme.
But on the flip side, why can't we just live life without that?
Matching shirts? How cute is that? Are you kidding?
I think there's two sides of that. Why can't we just live
It's
life?
like bringing me back to my sorority days when I was thriving.
Oh, my God. Let's see what I've been listening to, because y'all are talking about things that I have no idea what you're talking about. I've been listening to Unwind the 2000s. Oh wait, yeah, no, sorry. These are my recent playlists I've listened to. Sour, Olivia Rodrigo. 2000s Heartache, which has like Collide and Come On Get Higher and Burn.
Come on, get higher, loosen my lips, faith
Slow
and
Dancing
desire,
in a
the
Burning
swing of my
Room.
hips. Who sings that song?
Matt Nathanson.
Nathanson.
Dude.
Out of the Woods radio, which has some just bops. I Quit Drinking, the new Kelsey Ballerina with Lainey.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really good. Chance, Hayley Kiyoko radio. Dreams, Fleetwood Mac. Like, it's just, I got a
Wow.
assortment of. So, like, when y'all talk about new music, I don't know it until it goes on one of those playlists I listen to.
Oh, geez. Are you familiar with the new BTS song?
So we got invited to go to their barbecue, which I was like really excited to go, but I haven't 95p and I haven't had like one-on-one time lately. And so it was like kind of our one day to have time and just like one-on-one. And so Tanya was like, if y'all happen to come, what would you like? Like, we're making steak, shrimp. And I was like, this is the fanciest barbecue I've ever heard.
That's all we make. I don't know how to. That's what we make. We make steak for people that like red meat, and then shrimp for people that like seafood.
It's impressive.
I'm surprised you're not grilling vegetables on that thing, because those are delicious.
Well, yes. Thank you for asking. We do asparagus as well on the grill, and like I think corn, and there might be one other vegetable that we've thrown on there before. But it's really, we're becoming the like. First of all, we've had many barbecues because when we started dating, COVID hit and we couldn't hang out with like all of our friends. So we're trying to like merge or just kind of see like what friends of his mesh with my friends, you know what I mean? And so we're having these different barbecues, inviting our friends, and Becca and 95p are yet to make it to one.
No, but it's happening. And I had the conversation with 95p, like, Tanya and Red Star are having these barbecues weekly, and I really want to go to one. I think it'd be so fun. And 95p was like, I'm totally down. Once this month like calms down, I'm there.
Okay. And then it's like actually really sad because I wasn't even going to invite you to this one, truthfully, not in a mean way, but I was just like, she's not going to come. Who cares? And he literally texted me and said, please make sure you invite Becca and 95p, even if they don't come. And I was like, oof, that hurts.
Why did that
Hurt me.
Why?
Because you're becoming that friend of mine where we're like, we invite.
God, shut up. This is like whatever. No, I'm not taking that. I rebuke that.
You can't rebuke it.
Yeah,
I
I'm
said
rebuking it. I'm not receiving it.
Yeah. And he like brings out the ping pong table just for you.
Okay, yeah. The whole thing is that I need to play Red Star and ping pong. That's like the ultimate thing. And what's really causing me panic is that he thinks when
You're
I don't come
it.
that I'm like avoiding it because I'm scared I'm going to lose. And I'm like, my whole thing now is that I have to show up at some point. I was like, 95p, if you're busy next time, I need to go. I'm going to go alone because I have some duties I have to take care of over there. So it has
they
nothing
really
to do
built
with
up
me.
the ping pong.
Well, Becca's very competitive, if I may. So
Yeah.
I think that there may be something to that.